Hi guys, and welcome back to Reads Readers with your host Clinton Reed, and welcome to the Chaotic Wilds recommendations for Witchathon. Okay, if you guys don't know what Witchathon is, I'm gonna, ooh, your little crook. Sorry if it shakes a little. Whole building shaking? I don't get it. But okay, if you don't know what Witchathon is, Witchathon takes place the entirety of the month of May, which is next month. I am the Acolyte to the amazing priestess Hope from It's Hope's Books with the Chaotic Wilds Coven. And this is a readathon hosted by Sam at Yarn Reader. I will have Sam's announcement video linked down below and Hope's announcement video linked down below as well, so you can get all the gritty details and figure out which team you want to be on, which coven you're supporting. I, being an acolyte, I wanted to come on here and do a sit-down video with you guys and talk about... I have 2 recommendations for every prompt on here. This was super hard. I think I reused the same author twice. So 2 different authors were reused past that. I tried not to reuse same authors, but a couple of them were really hard with my collection. So, the Chaotic Wilds Coven, we are the Hedge Witches, which means we are all about nature and paranormal, and we're the psychic abilities, the healers, the I can see your future. We're also the ones who jump through portals. Again, I don't know why the desk keeps shaking like that. I don't know. This building is shaking. I apologize if the video is a little shaky. Hopefully it'll stop. But I have our lovely bingo board here for Chaotic Wilds. And I'm going to just get into some recommendations. I do hope you guys join us for several live shows. Dates to be determined on either Sam's channel or on my channel or on Hope's if you join Chaotic Wilds. I know we will have a live show for making flower crowns. We will have a live show with tarot and tea, where we'll be drinking tea and I will do some readings for you guys. I don't know how accurate these said readings will be. It depends on the deck, depends on the people, the energy I get. We have some fun things, like we'll be dressing in nature-esque colors. We're kind of your earth coven. There are so many fun covens. I hope you guys join us. It's going to be such a fun thing. And every book you read, all the page counts you read go towards points. And if your book, like just go watch their videos. I don't 100% understand the point system. I'm just going to enter my books and be like, this is what I read. So let's just get into the bingo board and the recommendations I have for you. Some of the books here I've read, some Sterling's read, some... These are the first ones that I thought of when I thought of this prompt. There is no rhyme or reason with a lot of these. But first, I'm just going to go ahead and state our group book for the Chaotic Wilds is Wild Allure by The Accidental Apprentice by Amanda Foodie. We chose this because this just screams hedge covens. And this will actually be good for set in nature on the cover, 250 plus pages. There may be healers, I don't remember. There are circles on the cover. You could also read the sequel to this. I don't know if wild or lore is considered a plant, but that would be a plant in the title. But yes, we chose this because it's one, the perfect book for the Hedgehogans, and two, Hope and I would like to catch up. We read a lot of spicy, smutty books, so we're like, let's throw in a middle grade and help us out a little, okay? But okay, so the first square on the bingo board is to read a paranormal. Now, some of the other Covens have a little bit more specific, like vampires and werewolves. This is open to interpretations. This is vampires, werewolves, gargoyles, witches, anything you would consider part of that dark, creepy, monster movie kind of thing. Read it. I have 2 books here that I would like to recommend. I have read both of these, gave one 5 stars and the other one 6 stars. Listen, I am in love with these. So, the first one I'm going to recommend, which I'm still waiting on the sequel, is The Alpha Son by Penny Jessup. All I'm going to say is gay werewolves. Listen. And this would also work for nature on the cover and set in nature. And I don't remember if there's any, like, there's no, like, full-on spicy scenes in this, but... Oh, and circles on the cover, because there's a moon. Listen, this one would work for lots of things, just gay werewolves, and that's all I'm gonna say. Not as dark or as smutty as Green Creek, but really good. And then I have A Fury of Bones and Gold by Haley Turner. This is book 1 in the Soulbound series. I will be reading book 3 this week. I am in love with this series. This series follows Patrick Collins, who is a special agent for the Supernatural Operations Agency. And in book 1, and he's a mage, I want to say. I don't think witch is the word. It's either mage, I always forget exactly what he is, but it's not like a witch. It's one of the other terms. But this is where he, basically this is queer Cassandra Clare Shadowhunters, where it's his job to make sure none of the supernaturals get out of hand. And this is when gods come calling to collect a soul daddy owes them, and a mortal has gone missing in New York City, and bodies are showing up in the wake of demon-led ritual killings that Patrick recognizes all too easily from his nightmares. But there's also, he meets Jonathan, who is a Godpack werewolf, who has connections to Fenrir, who they get a little soul-bound together, and it's about them living their everyday life and protecting the mortals from paranormal creatures. Listen, this series is amazing. I cannot wait. I will be finishing this series before the end of the year. This is on my list of one of the series that I would like to finish. I didn't think I was going to love it as much as I did, but I did. But again, there's a gay werewolf. Gay werewolves have used since a theme on my channel. Gay werewolves, gay hockey. Who knows? Okay. Next square is features a quest. Now, both of these, the first ones that popped in my mind, gotta do it, but you can also do Percy Jackson for this, because I literally just thought of that would work for this as well. But first, I'm gonna recommend Blood Like Magic. Her quest is a little different, and it's a little bit of a stretch of a quest, but to me, it would be a quest. She does her calling, which is a world where witches have to do their callings and do something that their ancestors want them to do to be able to receive their gift or their entire family loses their powers. And in this, Voya gets a second chance to do her calling and is horrified that her task is to kill her first love. But this is a girl who has never fallen in love before. So her quest is to fall in love and then kill them. Yeah. And then I'm just gonna say Throne of Glass. Enough said. Anywhere in the series would be considered a quest. I'm not going to go into Throne of Glass. Throne of Glass, Sarah J. Maas is super popular. I don't really care about telling you anything. It's just so good. Oh, so good. Next is a book set in nature. So the two I have to recommend are Surrender Your Sons by Adam Sass, which is I will say there are a lot of trigger warnings, so please look those up before reading this. But this is about a boy who is sent to a conversion camp in the middle of, I want to say, Brazil, in the middle of the woods to turn him straight. And a lot of this takes place in that camp, in the woods, in the dark and gritty, in the nature and stuff like that. So please do look up trigger warnings. So good though. And then the only other one that popped in my head to start with, set in nature. I'm sorry. I talk about this a lot on my channel. Are we shocked to see Wolf Song by TJ Klune? And I wanted to show off the pretty cover before the new ones come out and I lose this copy forever. But so that mine will match the new ones in height and width. But hey, gay werewolves again. Enough said. Circles on the cover, nature on the cover, set in nature, spicy scenes, psychic abilities, healers, paranormal, so sequels, hyped, listen, amazing. Next is nature on the cover. These were the first two that popped in my head. The first one being Forevermore, which is book 2 in this series, but you can read them as standalones. It does reference the couple in book 1, but not too much that if you wanted to read this one first. This is a Snow White retelling, but gay and set in the middle of the woods. And then I know Sterling really loves this series. I want to try it, but at the same point, zombies are not necessarily my thing. But Ringlestone by Darren Charlton has the most nature I could think of on the cover. Can we talk about that gorgeous cover? And then the back is just, oh. Sterling really wants me to read this. I will eventually. I will probably read this sometime during the summer. Oh, and we love a book with a map. But nature in the cover. This next one was actually the hardest one for me, and that is a book with fairies. The first one wasn't that hard, and that is A Court of Mist and Fury. Akatar, they're fairies, so be it. Whatever. But trying to find a second one. I decided to not go with fairies, but go with the Fae. And I am going to recommend the Mercy Thompson series by Patricia Briggs. Yes, this would also work for Paranormal because she is a coyote shapeshifter who falls in love with a werewolf one of her best friends is a vampire who drives a mystery machine that drives a van that looks like the mystery machine with a stuffed Scooby-Doo, and she works for a fae. And in this, fae are out, proud, and in the world, and they live on little bitty reservations, kind of like Native Americans, and they are like sectioned off. So there are actual fairies in it, but they're not none of the main characters. But one of the main characters is one of her mentors, who is a gremlin who taught her how to work on cars. So I was like, okay, let's do that. Next is Plant in the Title. I did some like research and I like looked some things up on a couple of these, but these were the two that I decided to go with. The Hawthorn Legacy. Hawthorn is a type of tree. This is the second book in the Inheritance Games trilogy. Or you could go with Clown in a Cornfield. Both have plants in the title. Next is Spacey Book. These were the first two that popped in my head, and I just immediately grabbed them and threw them over here. I don't know why. Other books are now popping out at me as Spacey Books, but these are the two spiciest I own. Well, one of them, the sequel could also count. But you got Learned My Lesson by Katie Roberts, which I still think about to this day. I still need to finish this series, but this is a Hercules, Hades, and Meg polyamorous. Everyone fucks each other. And then Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark. Listen, these are the first two that popped in my head. Scream for Us by Molly Doyle would also be up there. I need to get myself an actual copy of that. Okay, next are 250 plus pages. For that, the minimum pages you can have is 250 pages. I chose shorter books to recommend. Two that I really, really love. One being Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldor, which is super popular. Circles on the cover. There may be a healer in this. There was quests that happened in the background. It has a sequel coming out. It is a hyped book. Coffee beans are on the cover, so there's a plant on the cover. Past that. Super cute, adorable. And then also Top Secret by Serena Bowen and Elle Kennedy. Two frat brothers who are on this. One is looking for a guy to do a threesome with him and his girlfriend. And they talk on this little app. And then he shows up at the place and he finds out it's the dude who lives right next door in his frat house that he does not get along with. And then the things that happen between them, fucking love this. Also super, super spicy. Next is a book with a psychic ability. These were the first two books that popped in my head. One I've read and one I haven't. The one I haven't, and probably doing for this challenge, is A Dark and Shallow Lies by Ginny Myers Sons. This features a woman who has a secret and moves to a town, but the entire town is full of psychics, and this takes place in Louisiana, in the bayou. Super interested, by an Oklahoma author. And then also Psycho by Onley James, book 2 in the Necessary Evils series, which is a series about the 7 brothers who were adopted and raised because they're psychopaths. and are raised to kill those who society protects, i.e. priests, teachers, cops, and stuff who do things that are actually against the law. And in this one, August, the brother in this, meets Lucas, who has a psychic ability and is a former FBI agent who got kicked out because he can see the future. So, hi. Next is a book featuring healers. I went 2 different routes. I went a magical route and a non-magical route with this. For the non-magical route, I went book 2 in Green Creek, and that is Raven Song, to mention Gordo. He is not necessarily called a healer, but he does do all the healing and stuff for the werewolf packs. Anyone who gets injured, he uses his magic to help heal, as well as protect the town defensively, offensively, however he needs to. Or my favorite book of the year so far, Gravity by Tal Bauer, which features quite a few scenes in a hospital with doctors. So, healers. Next is Portal Fantasies, which was a little bit harder than I thought. So, I have 2 here. The first one that popped in my head was A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kimmerer. We have the really pretty edition covers that form the castle. Love them. This is about a girl named Harper who gets sucked into this world, and it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling. Harper and Rin, she has to save the beast, fall in love, yada yada. And White Trash Warlock by David R. Slayton. This follows Adam Binder, who is a warlock who is hunting down all of these items that are being sold on the black market, that he knows who's doing it, and wanting to save the world, where he meets Vince, they fall in love. But a lot of this takes place in our world, but there are moments where he is sucked into the Fae realm, or there are moments in the series where he is in the underworld. So to me, that's a portal fantasy because he gets sucked into these different places, not necessarily always by choice. So, next is Multiple Timelines. These were the first 2 that popped in my head. One being Local Woman Missing by Mary Kubica. We follow 4 different perspectives. We follow Shelby at the beginning. Shelby goes missing, then Meredith, Dickie, and her 6-year-old daughter vanish. And then 11 years later, Delilah shockingly returns the daughter, and it follows Meredith up to when she disappeared. It follows Delilah escaping. It follows a neighbor, all different at different points of timelines. Or you could read Maybe in Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which is about a woman named Hannah who there is a point in her story where she could stay and talk to her ex, Ethan, or leave with her best friend, Gabby. In this book, you follow both timelines. Fucking loved it. Every other chapter is the other timeline. The way it helps to keep it in your mind is one she has a dog, one she doesn't. It all makes sense. Love this. It's my favorite Taylor Jenkins Reid book. It is phenomenal and I need to reread it. Next is Circles on the Cover. And my 2 recommendations I have are neither ones that I've read, but I figured these 2 books showed the biggest, like what you could do with circles. we have 13 Witches by Jodi Lynn Anderson, and there's a gigantic circle. Or you can do something like Giving Chase by Riley Hart, where the lights in the background are little bitty circles. So what we mean by circles on the cover is we're not talking about a 0 or an O in the title of the book. Like Haven Wood does not. What we mean are circles, moons, crystal balls, a basketball, a hockey puck, anything that is round, lights in the background that are round, stuff like that on the cover. This is one of the ones that I find the most fascinating of our prompts. And I might actually steal it for my game. Next is a hyped book. And it's my channel. I've already recommended several hyped books. But I can't not hype up Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. And because every last one of the co-hosts of the Crave Along are part of Witchathon. I am just an acolyte. The other 3 hosts are Coven priestesses. I will recommend Crave. I had to. Because Sam hates it. Enough said. All the hosts are part of Crave Along are part of Witchathon, and the host of Witchathon hates Crave. Have to recommend. Sorry about it. Love you, Sam. I just thought that was funny. I had to do it. And next is to read a sequel. And the first sequel that popped in my head is Ride the Wreck by Max Walker. I fucking love the Stonewall Investigations world. This is the second book in the Stonewall Investigations Blue Creek series. If you don't know, what the Stonewall Investigations world is, the Stonewall Investigations series follows different agents in the private investigators in the Stonewall Investigations, where they all solve cases that have to do with queer marginalized people, the people that cops normally ignore, and they help to solve. And there's usually one case that goes throughout. I just finished Stonewall Investigations. I have finished Stonewall Investigations Blue Creek. I'm moving on next to Stonewall Investigations, the Miami one. But this one follows Elijah and Ryan. I cannot get Ryan out of my head. Like, look at this man. Those eyes. Listen, those eyes. They just do something to me. And in this, Elijah is a drag queen and has a stalker, and Ryan ends up helping Elijah, taking on Elijah's case, and then they fall in love, find the stalker, yada yada, romance suspense. And then if you're in a little bit of more of a sapphic mood, I recommend No Rings Attached, which is book 2 to read between the lines, which is another sapphic romance. And this one is a fake dating trope. Enough said. And then, last but not least, is Simplistic Cover. And for this, I'm recommending 2 of my favorite books and 2 of Hope's favorite books. First, we have The Foxhole Court by Nora Safekic. To me, this is such a simplistic, kind of plain Jane cover. And this is one of mine and Hope's favorite series. And then both me and Hope, our favorite book of all time, is the same exact book. And it's simplistic cover to me. And that is Red, White, and Royal Blue. I could have held up 5 different copies. But Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuestion, I had to recommend. Because they're just like such simple with words and like an image. Like, there's nothing too crazy, too out there for it. But those are my recommendations for the Chaotic Wilds Coven. I hope you guys join us. And again, go follow Sam and Hope, who I have linked down below. And go watch their announcement videos to find out which coven you truly want to be a part. I really hope you guys join us, because we're so cool. And we're going to have some cool parties and some live shows and some reading sprints. And we're going to do this thing. That's all I've got for you guys today. Remember, kids, always be fabulously yourself. And until next time, oh boy.